Hey guys. So, one of the main reasons why I wanted to start my podcast was not only to be able to tell my own stories, my own journey to motherhood, including my pregnancy losses, but I also wanted to give other women from all different backgrounds, a safe space to be able to come on and tell their stories as well. Everybody's story is so different, and I really feel like now is such an important time for women's voices to be heard. It is not a time for women to be silent and to feel alone in whatever they may be going through. So I really envisioned this being a place where women could come, share their stories, and really create a community with each other. So this week, I was so fortunate to have one of my longtime friends, Aisha Watley, come on and share her story. And I just need to make a quick correction going into her story. I refer to her story a couple times throughout the episode as a pregnancy loss. And I just want to correct that because it actually was an infant loss. Her daughter was born and she was here for 2 weeks before she unfortunately passed away. So it was an infant loss, not a pregnancy loss. So I just wanted to make that correction. And I am so grateful that she chose my podcast to come on and share her story. And it is not just a story of loss, but just of such resilience. And I'm very excited for you to hear her story. And so I will let her tell it. This is Aisha's story. Is this mic on? Ugh, I'm so bad with fucking technology.
Mommy, you said the F word.
Sorry, babe. Welcome to Mommy, You Said the F Word. I'm your host, Sarah Goldsboro. I've experienced firsthand the messy, magical, and sometimes maddening world of motherhood. We'll share some laughs and shed some tears as I dive deep into the highs and lows of life, confront loss, chat about career, fitness, creating a life you love, finding yourself again after kids, and who the fuck knows what else. This is a space where authenticity reigns supreme. So get ready to strip away the BS and get candid as fuck. All right, ma'am. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. This is something that was really one of the main reasons why I started my podcast, was to be able to give women a platform to speak about, especially pregnancy loss. It's something that's affected my life and affected so many women's lives. And so I just thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. First, let's give a little background. Just getting warmed up here. So you and I go way back. Like centuries back. We both started working at Bubbles Hair Salon. We were both hairstylists. We both started working at Bubbles in the early 2000s when you used to still pass out business cards in the mall. So that was fun times.
Yes, before social media.
Yes. That's something important that I tell, like, I know you teach now. When I would teach classes, something I would tell newer stylists, like, we started pre-social media. So it was a whole different ball game. So we go way back, and we've kind of managed to stay in touch via social media, which is great. Yeah. And you reached out to me recently, and we decided for you to come on the podcast, which I'm so excited. You're actually my first, guest. I have one of my friends come on regularly. We do a fitness series together, but you're my first guest that we're talking about pregnancy loss and your story about that and the grief that goes along with it. And so I'm going to let you just jump right on in. So your motherhood journey started when you were 19 years old.
Yes. I was 19 years old and I was in the military. I was stationed in Savannah, and I had already been at my duty station, and I was doing the things, everything we need to do. And then I just started realizing that I wasn't feeling good. So I went to what they call sick call in the morning, and I went and told them I just wasn't feeling well. And then the nurse was like, "Well, when was your last period?" I was like, "I don't know. You're 19. You don't track your stuff."
Yeah.
So I was like, "I don't know." She said, "You think you could be pregnant?" I said, "No."
Absolutely not.
I said, "No, I don't think I'm pregnant." I took the test, and sure enough, I was pregnant. So a complete shock to my system. I was like, "What?" You know what I mean? She said, "So congratulations, you're positive." I said, "So I'm positive, I'm not pregnant." She said, "No, you are pregnant." And it was a shock. So it was just like, what are you talking about? So I was 2 months along, and I was really, really small. Well, years ago, I was really small, so you couldn't even see.
Well, and I feel like with your first pregnancy too, like you don't know, like you don't have anything to compare it to.
Nothing. You don't know. And like I said, I wasn't looking for my period. You know what I mean? So, so I was pregnant. And so I dealt with that part. You know what I mean? And so the pregnancy went along, and everything was fine. And then around 4 months, I started spotting, and I went to the doctor, and he said it was fine. I just needed to chill out a little bit. And then like 2 months later, I was with my boyfriend at the time, and then I kind of like had cramps, and I sat on the toilet, and then blood started coming out.
Okay.
So rushed to the doctor, and I was just in a car praying like, "God, please don't let me nothing wrong with me."
Right.
So we get to the hospital, and they stopped the bleeding, and they told me I needed to just rest, chill out. And then I think maybe like a week later, I was back in the hospital.
Okay.
And then at that time, they kept me. And I was in the hospital for 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
And they put me on all the drugs to keep the baby.
And at what point in your pregnancy, how many months were
6 months?
You were 6 months at this point.
Mm-hmm. And for the 2 weeks, they kept, so I was 6.5 months.
Oh wow.
They kept me to the 7th month. And on the day of the 7th month, I was hungry, and my boyfriend brought me some cereal, and I was eating the cereal, and he left. And as soon as he walked out, I had to vomit.
Okay.
And my water broke.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And my water broke, and I felt like when I was heaving, I could feel like the bubble coming out. So as I heaved through, the bubbles had pop, and so I had to go into delivery. So I actually delivered her.
Oh my gosh.
And when I delivered her, she was 1 pound and a quarter. And so they took her to the neonatal clinic in Savannah. And let me add that my boyfriend at the time, which is my husband now,
okay,
not his baby.
Okay.
It was someone else's baby in Baltimore. I went to Baltimore. But,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We were in situationships.
Yes. Had the baby, and she was in the neonatal clinic, and she was so small. She could fit in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful little girl. I could see her face right now.
Mm-hmm.
Dark hair all over her. She was brown skinned. And I remember looking at her feet, and her feet looked just like mine. Even at that size, I was like, "Oh my God, that's my feet."
Right.
And her eyes looked like her dad's eyes. Her eyes he had really big eyes, and her eyes looked like his.
So she was at even that small, she was able to open her eyes. And was she, I would assume she was like hooked up to help her breathe and
to all the stuff. Her name was Angel Renee.
Oh.
She was hooked up to all the stuff. And she had a little pamper on, and she was in the incubator, and they had to give her one of the doll pampers, but she was so little. But she was there, and she was alive for 2 weeks. She fought, and she fought, and she fought. And on the day before she died, I was with her, and I was visiting, and she was breathing. She had been doing well, but then all of a sudden she wasn't breathing right.
Mm-hmm.
And I was standing over top of her, and I was looking at her. I was like, doesn't look right.
Something's not right.
And then all of a sudden, all the stuff went off, all the things, and then she started painting, and then they like pushed me away. Ushered me out the room.
Yeah.
And at that time, her lung was collapsing. So her lung collapsed, and then after that, the next day, I never was able to go back in there. The next day, that evening, they called me and told me she had passed away.
Oh my gosh.
So.
Had they, when she was born, when you delivered her, did they give you any indication of like what to expect?
No.
So this was unexpected.
Yeah.
They did not tell you that like she was probably only going to live for a short period of time.
And I was 19. Was I really listening to anything?
Right.
I didn't understand what was happening. And I was there by myself. He was with me, but he's 19 too. My mom was up here. And there was a bunch of big words coming at me, a bunch of medications, a bunch of things that I did not understand. Mm-hmm. I didn't even understand what was happening, why everything was happening. And, too, I grew up Christian, and you pray and you ask God for things and he does it for you. So at that time in my mind, I'm praying. She's going to pull through and we're going to, it's going to be rough for a minute, but we're going to be okay.
Right.
So I don't think I was grasping what was happening.
You were thinking beyond that, like once we leave the hospital and what's life going to be like, what, all of those things.
What do I have to buy? What do I have to do? I don't have a place because I'm in the military, so I'm inside the barracks.
Those are the things that you're thinking of as any mom, but let alone a young 19-year-old, essentially single mom. Mm-hmm. There's so many things that you're thinking of, and you have this small, tiny, premature baby that you're just worried about making sure she's healthy enough to leave the hospital. You're thinking of all those things, and then this happens.
And then you're going through also a trauma right now.
Right.
Because I keep going to the hospital to see this little person that I can't even pick up.
Right.
And I'm talking to her. She's a baby, so she can't understand me. And I kind of was in a fog. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. So when they told me she had passed away, I was still in the barracks. I remember. I wasn't moved out yet. I was still in the barracks because I picked up the phone. They told me she passed. I said, okay. And I went back to bed. I didn't cry. And I went the next morning. I got up and I went to the hospital. And I walked through the doors. And when you go through the doors, there's like the nurse's station. Mm-hmm. And at the nurse's station, they had a box.
Oh my gosh.
So I go to the nurse's station and the lady gives me a box and said, I'm so sorry for your loss. And we have glucose. And I looked at her and I snatched the box and I walked upstairs.
Do you think you were, at that time, in shock a little bit? What was going through your head?
In my head, because like I said, I'm a praying person. I was pissed.
Yeah. Because God let you down.
Why would you take my baby?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And why are you talking to me about death, about my baby?
Yeah. That's not supposed to happen.
No. Right?
Yeah.
Give me the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Leave me alone. That's where my brain was.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is some bull. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why is this happening right now?
So what did you do next? I mean, you left.
I left. I took the stuff and I threw it in my trunk.
Okay.
And I drove back to the barracks to go handle my affairs. As far as, because I was in the military, so I had to go on leave and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm walking back and everybody knows now what happened. I'm so sorry. I'm like, what are you sorry for? It didn't happen to you. I was really mad.
Yeah.
Angry, still hadn't cried. Still hadn't.
Okay.
I went and I took my leave and I went home to see my parents. Saw my mother. She started crying. Saw my friends. They were crying. And then I went to church. And my cousin had lost a son to cancer. I was sitting in service and I was trying to deal with the service, and I just got up and left, and I went to the chapel and she came in there with me and she just grabbed me and she held me. She wouldn't let me go. And I just started screaming. I was so angry. Mm-hmm. But she knew because she had felt it.
Do you feel like you could kind of let your emotions go with her because you knew that she knew what you were feeling?
Nobody else knew.
Yeah. So
when people were saying that they're sorry, how can you be sorry for something you don't even know what it's like? And then you have people also, I don't know if you ever experienced it, people say the stupidest stuff.
Oh, yeah. They love to say some dumb shit.
They say the stupidest stuff, like, at least you'll have another one or something.
I think people try to make you feel better, or they try to give you, like, look on the bright side. But at that point in time, you are so caught up in your grief that there is no bright side. Exactly. And I think only people who have experienced that type of loss, that type of trauma understands like truly like how you're feeling.
Yes.
So you were able to
that was my first release.
release some of your emotions at that point with your friend in the chapel. With your cousin.
People say stupid stuff like I said, like you'll have another one. And I think people with infant loss, I think people just kind of don't equate it to like if you've raised a child. A loss is a loss.
A loss is a loss.
And it may not be as fierce of a pain as if you raised a baby, but it's still a pain.
Yeah.
It's still an experience. It's still a trauma.
Absolutely. You still had a lot of future plans.
Exactly.
I feel like as soon as a woman gets pregnant, you mentally have already thought about your future, what your future looks like. And I can't imagine, because my losses were all miscarriages. As a mother, you bond with that child the second you see it. And so that's really traumatic, having your daughter for a few weeks and then to lose her. It's just...
And then the helplessness of her being in the incubator. I couldn't do anything. But the bond, like you were saying as well, because like I said, when she had her lung collapse, I could tell something was wrong with her. And I asked the nurse, I said, she doesn't look right. Something's wrong. And they know she's fine. She's actually having a good day today. And I said, no.
You already know your child.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not like right after that, her lung collapsed. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I felt it and I could see her. And I knew, you know what I mean? But, so yeah. That happened. And I just kind of went back to my life.
Okay. So you were still in the military at this point.
And I went back to my day-to-day, and I did not deal with it. I kind of just pushed it to the side. And I grew up in Baltimore City, so I've been through some trauma. I've been through the things. But that was the worst thing I had ever been.
Yeah.
And to this day, it's the worst thing.
What would you say was the next stage after that? So you felt like you weren't really dealing with your grief.
I was not dealing with it. I kind of pushed it away. So,
which I feel like a lot of people do, because they don't know how to navigate the emotions, or maybe they don't have the support, so they don't know what to do with it. How long was it between you losing your daughter and having your next child?
So, the military sent me directly to counseling. So I was going to the military counseling, and then I decided I wanted to help at an after school program or something, just to be around kids. I was trying to heal it myself.
Okay.
So Angel was born 1999, Imani was born 2001.
Okay.
So I had her right after.
Yeah.
And getting pregnant with her was very scary, because you're scared.
Yeah.
You try to figure out if you're gonna hold on to this one too, and I started having issues with her, and it just put me on bed rest really early. So, and then I still had her early.
Okay. How early was she born?
I had her at 37 weeks, but she started trying to come early too.
Okay.
So they put me on bed rest, and then at 37 weeks I had her. Yeah. So I found out later that a lot of women in the military in that area had premature birth.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
They started giving us the anthrax shot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So everybody a lot of us that had the anthrax shot, we had premature birth. My friend Ray, her son was born at 6 months. He was a pound and some change.
Oh my gosh.
He died too.
Oh my gosh.
He died too, right after my daughter, maybe a few months. So I was with her at the same NICU, and it was, oh my God, I had to walk into the same room, the same thing, smell the same smells.
Oh my God, I bet that was so triggering.
Yeah. She had him, he passed away, and then she had another baby. 30 days after I had Imani.
Oh my gosh.
She had another baby. And she was born prematurely. She was small, but she made it.
Oh, good.
Kale made it.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, just couldn't hold on to yeah.
How was that for you going back to the same
It was
place where you lost your daughter?
it was hard, but it felt like a triumph.
Okay.
If that makes sense, because I was able to help my friend walk through the situation and be strong for her.
Okay.
Because nobody understands, like we said, except for someone who's been through it. So I was able to be strong enough to sit in it with her, with my friend, and um, help her navigate emotionally.
You being there for her was more important than
exactly
like not being able to go back to that place. Wow.
So, but it was the smell you'll never forget.
Ugh.
You know, seeing the baby, just it was
Wow.
And then years later, my cousin had a stillborn baby.
Oh my
I had
gosh.
to sit with her, and so you go through things in life so that you're able to help someone else.
I definitely believe that. I feel like that all the time, especially with, I'm sure this has happened to you quite a few times too, with like doing hair. I feel like clients, especially like when you post things on social media, I know you have, I have as well, like posted things about your loss on social media. And so your clients see that. So they know that like that's something that you've experienced. They know it's something that like you're open to talking about. So I've had so many clients over the years like open up to me about their losses and their, you know, fertility struggles. So I feel like we kind of become this like support for other people, which
like a conduit for strength.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is, I guess, somewhat of a silver lining, you could say, when it comes to this. Like, if, you know, you can help somebody else get through their grieving, because it takes a lot of strength to get through something like that. So, and I don't think that not everybody has that strength. I mean, not everybody can get past it, and it can destroy their lives. And so I feel like for them to have someone strong in their life, like and you, to
you can still go, you know,
and to let them know like you're in the thick of it right now, but these emotions won't always feel this heavy and intense. They're never going to go away completely. I just want to talk a little bit about the grieving process, because I think that's really important, especially somebody who may be listening who's going through it right now. So you started off kind of angry and also kind of just like, I'm not gonna deal with it. When would you say is when you started to deal with it, or what was your next stage for you of the grieving process?
Like I said, I had to go to counseling. I was forced to go to the counseling, so I had to address the issues, and you know, so I had to look at it. So that started it, and then like I said, I tried to go do the school thing just to try and be around kids, you know what I mean? But then, like I said, when I had to help Ray, my friend, so that helped me look at it and say, hey, you feel this, you know what I mean? And when you get quiet too, it always surfaces. So I dealt with it a lot quietly to myself. And I can't sit up here and tell you I remember each stage.
Yeah. No. Do you think helping your friend was also kind of, or helping your cousin was kind of helping you at the same time?
Yeah. Helping my friend and then helping my cousin later. Every time I had to help somebody, it helped me. But every year, it's not as bad as it used to be, but every year around her birthday, my body shuts down.
Okay.
Involuntarily.
Oh, wow.
She was born October 25th, and she died November 10th. And every year around that time, I get really heavy. I get really distant. I get really quiet. Because I know it's coming. And sometimes I don't remember it's coming, and then I look at the date, and I say, oh.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
One year I remember it was maybe 2013, 2012. I had moved to St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, and it was around October. It was around that time, and I had kept her bag with her little dress that they give you at the hospital, and a picture of her. I had two pictures, and I had given one to the dad, and I kept one.
Okay.
and I had it in a little bag. And so it had come to time around that time, and I wanted to sit and remember her. And I went looking for the bag, and I couldn't find it.
Oh no.
And it got lost and moved from Baltimore to St. Thomas. And I lost it.
Yeah, I would imagine.
And in doing that, it let me realize that how much I wasn't over it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I was so mad with myself. How could you forget her? And I never want to forget her. I never want her to think I forgot her.
Mm-hmm.
And the guilt that you feel when you have other kids and you're loving your other kids, you don't ever want the baby that you lost to think that you love them more than you love them. You love them all the same.
Yeah, of course.
And I would always pray, God, please let her know that I love her. You know, that I love her too. You know?
Yeah.
So when I lost the bag, it was like,
there was a lot of guilt attached to that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I got through it. I called my mom. I talked to her about it. I got through it. But I needed to have that. I needed that.
Right.
And ever since then, when that time comes around, I don't get as bad. It was like I needed that release.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And maybe that coming to terms moment with myself, that I didn't forget her, and she knows that I love her. Mm-hmm. I love her. You know. Yeah. And I always, when people ask me how many kids I have, I say I have 6 kids.
Mm-hmm. I think that's amazing that you say that. You've always said that.
Yeah. But she was mine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she was here.
She was here.
I mean, people who don't even have that, like, give birth to them sometimes say that. And I'm always just like, because I don't say that. I have one child. But I think that's so beautiful that you honor her. And I think that she knows that you love her and you keep her memory alive. And every time you talk about her and, you know, I definitely believe that. I feel like their little spirits are with us at all times. And I'm sure that she's happy to see her brothers and sisters. And
I think she sent them to me.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. What, in your mind, what makes you say that?
I guess it just gives me comfort. I know she had to go. She couldn't stay. And I think she was here to maybe put a little shock to my system.
Okay.
Because I was 19, I was running wild. You know what I mean? I was in the military and I was having fun. Yeah. I think she was sent for me to just chill out.
Okay.
And to grow up. So, and she couldn't stay. So she sent me her sisters and brothers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I also never want them to think that I love them any less.
Of course.
Because, you know, how much I love their sister.
Yeah.
Because I love all of the kids.
Yeah. You have some
awesome.
Beautiful children.
Yeah. And it has also kind of turned me into a helicopter mom a little bit. Because you know what it is to lose it. You know what I mean? So you're very cautious about your kids. And I've had to learn as they gotten older to loosen up a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard.
My kids have been mild.
Yeah.
And now that they're grown, crazy, I'm learning how to be me again. I'm trying to figure out how to be me. Because I've devoted everything to raising my kids. So now I got to figure out who I am after. But I don't regret any bit of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so interesting. I've experienced the same thing. I feel like especially when you experience loss, like once you do have a child that's here, you like want to fiercely protect them, and like I definitely am a self-proclaimed helicopter mom as well, and I think that it stems from just wanting to like make sure nothing happens to them. It's like that fear is always inside of you, and I definitely
absolutely can't control it.
yeah no
You absolutely cannot, and I'm learning that more and more every day. You can't control any of it. You just gotta let it go. They'll get much better at letting go. Or just letting them be, especially as I have two that are adults now.
Oh gosh,
insane.
I am dreading those days.
It's insane. It's insane, especially your son.
Yeah,
like the little boy that used to be all over you and never wanted to leave your side. Now he's like, Mom. He has a girlfriend and he's going and doing things. And...
no, just no. I tell my son all the time, I'm like, don't you want to be one of those weird 30-year-olds that lives with your mom? He's just like, right now he's 8, so he's like, yeah, sure. No, I know that will change.
Not want to be, and no little girls don't want to be.
Oh, no.
It happens.
So now, obviously, it has been a very long time. It's been 25 years since you lost your daughter, and obviously it still affects you. So I guess, what can you say to someone who is like currently going through a loss of a child, of an infant, a miscarriage? What can you tell them about the grieving process, that although it never goes away, what can you tell them about like how your feelings have been over the last 25 years?
I will say, in the moment, that moment is that moment. Be wherever you are in the moment, and don't feel guilty about wherever you are. Everybody's different, and everybody walks different. Everybody goes through things differently. Experience the moment, but don't stay in the moment, and don't let the moment cripple you. Because life does happen after. It will. As long as you're breathing, things are going to change. Things are going to move. Things are going to change. And it will get better. You may not feel like it today. You may not feel like it next week.
Yeah.
But it will get better. The grief doesn't go away. And you're not going to forget it. But it will become manageable.
I think that's a good way to say it. It never is gone. You are able to, have a good cry and then move on. And you don't stay in it. You don't let it consume you.
You can stay in it if you allow yourself.
Yeah.
But you have to put in your mind, know in your mind that you can't stay there. That it's not a place for you to be. Your baby's not there. Your baby's not in the grief. Your baby's resting. So you can allow them to rest. You don't have to keep taking them out of the coffin. You don't have to keep taking them out of the incubator. You don't have to keep taking them out of your womb. They're resting.
Right.
So you can let your spirit rest. You can let your soul rest. You can let your pain rest. You can let your body rest. Because I said it too on my Instagram when I was telling the story on my Instagram, that the loss doesn't just hurt your heart. It hurts your mind. It hurts your fingers. It hurts your body, your toes. It hurts. It hurts. But you don't have to sit in the hurt. You can move forward. You can. It doesn't feel like you can, but you can.
You think it's just something that comes with time?
It does. And people say it all the time, time heals all wounds. I don't think that time heals wounds. I think that time helps you manage wounds. And experience helps you manage wounds. And helping other people helps you to do it too. Some people don't like to talk about it, and it's fine if that's your process, but you have to get it out. Because if you don't get it out, and then it sits and it turns into bitterness.
Yeah.
And that's what was happening. And bitterness will eat away at you and make you evil and angry.
Yeah.
And if you're evil and angry and tight, you can't open your heart and your mind to receive the things that are coming.
Right.
we have to let go of the negativity. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay for those of us who are Christians to be mad at God.
Mm-hmm.
You can say that.
Yeah.
You can say, I'm mad. And I why you do this to me?
Mm-hmm.
You can say that, you know. And saying that helps you to release it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it helps you to not stay there. And try and find a reason for why you are there. Don't spend all your time trying to figure it out, but look for the silver lining,
Mm-hmm.
basically. Because things happen to us because certain things are happening to us. So try and figure out where you are in your life. And not say you deserve. Nobody deserves it.
No.
But things happen to help change us and shift us into different spaces.
Absolutely. Oh my God. I think that is like the perfect way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is something that you see once you're kind of a little bit more removed from the situation. It all starts to make
Makes
sense.
Exactly.
How do you think the loss affected your relationship with your other children? Because you have 5 children.
I appreciate my relationship. I appreciate being able to give birth to them and keep them around. Mm-hmm. I appreciate being a mom.
Yeah.
You know, whereas I don't think I would have appreciated before.
Gives you a little bit of a different perspective.
Mm-hmm. Because I got pregnant. I didn't want to be pregnant. I wasn't appreciative of the pregnancy,
Mm-hmm.
of the blessing of it.
Yeah.
So I am now.
Yeah.
You know, I don't take it for granted.
Absolutely.
I definitely gained that.
Yeah.
That how life is fragile and you don't have to have a baby. You don't have to be blessed with the ability to give birth to children.
Mm-hmm.
Always love kids. Always. But I didn't realize that it's not given.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I definitely appreciate that now.
Yeah, I feel that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when you've experienced loss, it makes it that much more of a blessing. Exactly. When you are blessed with a child, because yeah, it's not that easy for everyone, and it shows you that life can be here and gone very easily. And I agree with you. I definitely don't take my child for granted. And I think that's where like the anxiety and the helicopter mom comes in, because it all comes from a good place. But it does kind of give you that, you know, a little bit of that fear, because you know what that loss feels like, and you don't want to feel that ever again. So you do appreciate. The next thing I was going to ask you, you know, it's been 25 years. Why do you feel like it's important now to tell your story, or to continue to tell your story?
For reasons that we talked about, because it helps people. And I so appreciate. I was so proud of you.
Oh my God.
Let's talk about that. Because we know each other from when we were children.
Yeah.
Kids, you know what I mean?
And I think we met each other at a time. You were you were starting to have, I think when I met you, you had already had your had Imani. Yeah. So you were already in your motherhood journey. I was in my 20s, running fucking wild, going out, drinking, boyfriends, drama. I was in a different stage of life than you. Now I'm obviously a mom. I'm chilled out a little bit now. What we were talking about is like this, starting this podcast, one of the main things was for this right here. Like, I want to give women the platform, the place, a safe space to be able to talk about their loss at any stage. Right. I think I love that you are still talking about it after 25 years, because like you said, it never leaves you. It's always a part of you. And I think it's important for women to hear that, not to like scare them in any kind of way, but just to see what the journey looks like at different points in time. and to see that you have continued on and you have a beautiful family, you have a beautiful life, you've gone on. Let's talk about some of the things that you've done in your life. I know that you, when we met, we were both doing hair in the salon. What are some other things that you've done since we last saw each other?
Since we last saw each other, I'm now teaching in the salon. I used to travel teaching with the company, but I'm not teaching in the salon, sorry, I'm teaching in school. But I've done training in salons, things like that. But outside of the hair thing, I've written 4 books.
Yes.
2 adult books and 2 children's books. I have directed my own little movie trailer for my book. So just doing in my creative bag.
Yes.
Things like that. Lots of things in the industry, you know that we both have done that. But just concentrate and raising children. I've raised 5 kids. You know what I mean?
I'm tired just thinking about it.
2 in college, 2 in high school, and then I have a 6-year-old. So busy lady.
Yes.
Doing things. So doing this, still talking about this, because I don't want her death, my trauma, to be wasteful. If it had to happen, let it happen for a reason. And the reason being it can help somebody else, then great.
Yes.
Because don't let it just have happened to me just because.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
So if I'm going to have to continue to go through this, keep continuing to feel its pain, at least let it be because somebody else is going to be helped. You know?
And I think that they will. I think it's so important for them to hear your story. And that's something that I love to tell women is, like you said, a lot of people don't share or don't talk about it because it's painful, but also because maybe that's just their personality is not to talk about it. But I think in doing that, it opens up the door to more possibilities and help other people to create a community of women. People can come to you and they know that you're a safe space for them. Maybe they don't have anybody else like that in their life.
And I've been kind of that person. We've had talks. I'm always that kind of person that's talking to somebody and helping them through things, and especially as an instructor now. Young girls, helping them through all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? And like I said, I've been through a lot of trauma. But this is just the worst one. So it's caused me to have an ear, I guess, and have an open heart to people that have been going through things or going. So I'm always kind of in that space of helping somebody. And I don't take it lightly. So yeah, that's the reason why I continue to speak on it. And also because she was here. She held up space in the world.
Yeah. I think
people need to know it.
I think that's beautiful. Do you, because you are a writer, do you have plans to ever write about your story in any capacity?
I like to write fiction.
Okay.
I like to write the escape. So I appreciate that you did what you did with your book and and people like that. It hasn't been on my mind to do that. Maybe a vlog one day. Remember, I started one before, and I just got to never finish it. But maybe a vlog one day. But a novel on it. I don't think so.
Yeah. I think as a creative person, we find different ways to kind of, for like that release or like to kind of get those emotions out. For me, because that kind of fell in my lap. One of my clients was the lead author on the book, and I wrote a chapter in the book, and that kind of fell in my lap. She knew my story and asked me to be a part of it. Had that not happened, would I have ever written my story other than on like social media? Maybe not, but the opportunity presented itself, and so I did it. And I feel like for me, that gave me personally a lot of closure. And I feel like everybody kind of finds that in their own way. So yeah. I was just wondering, since you are an author.
We're gonna leave my link at the bottom of the stuff. Y'all go buy it. But I don't think I will. I don't know. Maybe this could be the start of something.
Never say never.
Never say never. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing to talk about it and share stories. And something that you and I spoke about before off camera, before we started recording, was we hear a lot about white women and their losses. Yeah. Do you have anything to say or add to the fact that, do you feel like women of color are underrepresented when it comes to pregnancy loss, infertility, those types of things?
I think because women of color have this stigma, especially Black women, I don't want to sound, but it's just true. Black women have this stigma that we're just strong, that nothing hurts us. And the thing is, Black women are hurting, which is why a lot of times we seem so angry, because life is happening and nobody's watching. Nobody's checking on us. Nobody's looking at us and say, "Hey, girl, you okay?" We're doing it to each other. It's just like I told you, my friend, my cousin, all of us have had these losses. You know what I mean? But nobody, as a whole, is saying, "Hey, are you guys doing okay?"
Right.
And we're experiencing the same thing that other women are experiencing at very high rates, and sometimes higher rates, because sometimes we don't have the health care, and we're not in hospitals. They're not taking care of us like they would take care of you. You know, they don't believe us when we say things. You know what I mean? So a lot of times we're experiencing these things sometimes at a higher rate, and we're not being offered the mental health care. We're not being offered the support to help get through these things. We're just often told to just get over it and keep it moving. We're told to just keep going, you know. And then sometimes, because other people are telling us to do that, we tell each other, "Perk it up," you know. And it's not that easy to just girl get up, you know? And while girl get up has become therapeutic in some ways, it's been crippling in other ways, because we work through things and just work through things. We don't deal with it, you know. So we push it back, and it turns into this boiling pot of anger that just sits, and then it spills over into things that we don't want it to spill over into.
Right.
So, me being a Black woman talking about this to someone else, I hope will open the avenue for us as women, period, to be support to each other.
Absolutely.
To say, "Hey, are you okay? Do you need a hand? Do you need help? Do you need somebody to talk to? Talk to me." You know, so
I think it's so important, especially like the state of the world right now. I feel like women, especially, I mean, women in general are under attack right now. And I think it's so important for women, white, Black, any race, ethnicity, for women to just have each other's backs, period. But especially when it comes to these types of topics, when it comes to reproductive health and pregnancy loss, you know, only women can understand.
Yeah. A man can't tell you what that feels like.
No. So I think having conversations like this, you know, I think it's so important for women, no matter what race or ethnicity you are, to be able to lean on just other women in general, and for us to have each other's backs. So yeah, I really appreciate you talking about it, and I totally agree with you. I feel like there's definitely an underrepresentation, especially when it comes to these type of topics. I think it's definitely something that's not talked about as much when it comes to Black women or women of color or other nationalities. I feel like we don't hear about it as much. And
Black women go through it too.
Yes.
We experience loss. We experience so many of my friends, family members, have experienced this loss. I have another cousin. She recently lost her son. He was stillborn, I believe. He didn't make it, and she posts regularly about it. She's honoring her son, and she's keeping his name alive. And it's hard for her. She's trying to get through it, but it's hard. And seeing other people post their babies and Christmas time,
that's the
and
worst.
Mother's Day, and it's hard, you know. And I see you, cousin. You know what I mean? She loves her baby too. You know what I mean? We love our kids too. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, any woman, it's okay. You know, any woman, you know, you can get through it, and you will love again. And even if you don't give birth to another baby, if you adopt a baby, if you adopt a child, if you take another child under your wing, you can still take that same love that you have and give it to another baby, another child. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily have to be a child that you gave birth to, because God bless those people that raise other people's children.
Oh, there's a special place in heaven.
Honey, you know? God bless you guys that take other people's kids and love them like they're yours. You know, because they are yours. You know, maybe that's your blessing. Maybe that's your lane. Maybe that's your calling, to give love to a baby that wasn't able to receive it from its own mother. You know, so
yeah,
find somewhere to put the love is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
don't force it, you know, but in time you will get your time to put the love where it's supposed to be. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Don't try and create the avenue, but in time the door will open for you to place that love that you have for that little one in another little one's heart, because the little one is somewhere waiting on you.
Well, it's so interesting that you say that, and this may sound a little strange, but like one of my clients who I did her hair for a very long time, she's a psychic, and she told me that basically, like, if you have a baby, or if you had a miscarriage, you had a loss, that spirit can move on to like another child. So I don't know. I feel like a lot of people who adopt, it's almost like that child finds them. I feel like I've heard a lot from people, like it's just funny how things kind of happen sometimes. So I wonder if, like, you know, some babies are born biologically, we have them. Maybe some babies that we're meant to have come to us in another way, but nevertheless, it still was meant to be your child. So I think that's like really hopeful for people who are struggling, because you know, there are, if you really just have it in your heart to be a mother,
and even in teaching, those kids, you may not get to take them home, but those babies find you, and you get to put their love in onto them. And science, I just realized, I just found out on I think it was TikTok or something, that when you carry a baby, they leave part of their DNA.
I heard that too.
Onto the next child. So I'm looking at her and all 5 of my kids. You're looking at your babies in care. So
I heard that too, and I was
insane. So science, so not even a psychic or something mystical, but real life. So
yes, that's amazing. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about when it comes to your loss, or just loss in general? Anything else that's on your heart to talk about?
I think we covered everything. I think we said a lot. I do feel a bit of release with this. I don't know why. I was planning the trip to come and surprise my mother. And I saw your podcast right when I was about to leave. And something said, well, ask Sarah, can you be on the show? And I was like, well, it's kind of last minute or whatever. And I said, well, try it. If it happens, it happens. And look, here we are.
And the funny thing is that I swear to God, the universe just works in like mysterious ways. I hadn't even like put it out yet, but I was starting to plan some episodes to have guests like you on, kind of periodically to talk about their own stories. And I hadn't even like put it out yet, but I had been thinking about it, and you contacted me, and I was like, well, like obvious, because of course, in like, I was thinking about who do I know that has like a really beautiful story that would want to share their story, but also that like I was trying to go down the list of people in my mind, and then you literally popped up, and I was like, yes, obviously. And it's so good to see you after all this time. I feel like definitely social media has allowed us to kind of at least like just kind of, we don't always talk, but like see what's going on in each other's lives and kind of just keep up with each other, which is so amazing because we were such good friends when we worked together. And I was, I was sad to like when you left, and so it's just so good, and I'm so happy for you. I mean, 5 kids, that's amazing. That's such a full, beautiful life. And to see your kids, who the last I saw them, they were little itty bitty children, to see them such grown, successful, beautiful adults now. It's amazing. And I'm so happy for you and happy for your family. And it was so nice to catch up with you. And so I'm so appreciative for you to come on the show, be my first guest to tell your story. And I hope that this definitely is healing for you, but also, like you said, maybe kind of the start of your next chapter for your wherever I'm going, for your journey, your healing process. We're always writing our life. It's like our life is writing itself right now.
Here for the ride.
So.
I'm excited to see where life is going.
Yes.
I can say that. I haven't said that in a long time.
Yeah.
And I am. I'm excited to see where it's going. So excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I love you. And I'm so proud of you too. You have done amazing things. And I think, at the end of the day, when it comes to loss, it's always a part of us, but it doesn't determine what the rest of our life is going to look like.
Have to cripple you.
No.
That's what I want to say. You don't have to let this cripple you.
Yes.
Yeah. Honor it and move on.
And I think that you've done that beautifully. You have honored your daughter. You have continued to talk about her for so many years, which I love that. And I'm so blessed to have you on here and to be able to share about your daughter, Angel Renee.
Angel Renee.
What a beautiful name.
Peace. And I named her before I even had her.
That's amazing. Yeah. And to be able to share where your life has gone since then. And so I just want to thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope we can do this more often. I don't want it to be another 15 years before I see you. But so thank you so much. And I love you so much. And thank you for joining me. And for everybody who's watching, listening, thank you so much for sharing in Aisha's story. And we'll see you again. All right. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. Show me some love by sharing this episode, and be the first to know when new episodes drop by following the show wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe on YouTube and follow me on social media at Mommy You Said the F Word.